After watching Black Bag, I'm convinced that Pierce Brosnan should star in a future James Bond movie. Brosnan previously played 007 in 4 James Bond movies in the 90s and early 2000s. His first Bond movie, GoldenEye, is often regarded as one of the best movies in the long-running spy franchise. However, due to the franchise's producers wanting to go in a different direction for 2006 Casino Royale, Brosnan was replaced by Daniel Craig. Therefore, 2002's Die Another Day was Brosnan's last time playing the iconic spy. 23 years after Die Another Day, Brosnan appeared in a new spy film, Black Bag. In addition to Brosnan, the cast of Black Bag includes Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett, Regé-Jean Page, and fellow James Bond alumni Naomi Harris. Black Bag, which is directed by Steven Soderbergh, follows George, who works at London's National Cyber Security Centre and must figure out which of his co-workers leaked a cyber weapon. In the film, Brosnan plays Arthur Stieglitz, the head of the National Cyber Security Centre, and his performance confirms he should star in a future James Bond movie, but not as 007. Pierce Brosnan is a convincing spy agency leader in Black Bag. Brosnan plays an intimidating boss in Black Bag. Brosnan doesn't necessarily have the most screen time in Black Bag. However, he steals the screen in every scene that he does appear in. Additionally, his character not having as much screen time works for Black Bag's story, since he is the boss and does not necessarily have a very personal relationship with most of the characters. Therefore, since we don't learn practically anything about his personal life, he is consistently a very intimidating figure in the movie. For example, halfway through the film, Brosnan's Arthur leads a meeting and criticizes George and his co-workers for allowing the cyber weapon, which is called Severus, to be leaked. Brosnan's performance in this scene ensures that George, his co-workers, and audience members are all scared of what Arthur will do when the leaker is discovered. Of course, the end of Black Bag reveals that Arthur was actually the one who leaked Severus into Russian hands with the help of James Stokes. Brosnan's complex character in Black Bag proves that he would be great in a future James Bond movie. Pierce Brosnan should play M in the next James Bond reboot. Brosnan could replace Ralph Fiennes as M in the next James Bond movie. While I would love to see Brosnan appear in another James Bond film, I don't think he should portray the iconic MI6 spy. Ever since Craig's tenure as James Bond ended with 2021's No Time to Die, some fans have been asking to see Brosnan play the role one last time. A film starring Brosnan as an older James Bond has been pitched by some members of the fanbase. However, this seems unlikely to happen, as Amazon will likely want to begin a new era of the long-running franchise, while Brosnan will probably never play James Bond again. After watching Black Bag, I'm convinced that he would make the perfect M. M is the head of MI6 in the James Bond franchise and has a close working relationship with 007 in most of the movies. Bernard Lee, Robert Brown, Judi Dench, and Ralph Fiennes have all portrayed M in the James Bond franchise. While most of these actors have played the head of MI6 for multiple versions of James Bond, it is currently unclear whether the role will be recast for the upcoming Bond 26. Since Bond 26 will start a new era, I would be surprised if Ralph Fiennes reprised his role as M. Even though he was great in Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die, it would be best to cast a new actor to portray M. By playing the head of a spy agency in Black Bag, Brosnan proved that he is the perfect actor to play M in the next James Bond movie. Casting Brosnan as M would ensure that Bond 26 honors the previous films in the long-running spy franchise, while also being the start of a brand new era. If not M, Black Bag teases why Pierce Brosnan could play a Bond villain next. Brosnan plays a villainous character in Black Bag. Ideally, the next actor to play M will appear in several James Bond movies. Since he has already starred in the franchise in the past, there's a chance that Brosnan wouldn't want to commit to such an important supporting role in the series. Therefore, if he doesn't want to play M for multiple films, I think Brosnan would also make for a great villain in a future James Bond movie. After playing the heroic 007 for multiple movies, it would be great to see Brosnan take on an antagonistic role in the franchise. I believe the former 007 actor would be an amazing choice to play an iconic James Bond villain like Blofeld, the head of Spectre. While Brosnan hasn't played many villains throughout his career, his role in Black Bag confirms that the actor is interested in playing characters with a dark side. In Black Bag, Brosnan manages to be extremely intimidating without being too over-the-top or dramatic. After seeing him portray Arthur in the film, I'm confident that Brosnan could play one of the best villains in the James Bond franchise. What Pierce Brosnan has said about returning to James Bond. Brosnan thinks a new actor should play James Bond. Brosnan was not expecting Die Another Day to be his final James Bond movie and was disappointed to learn he would not be appearing as 007 again. However, that was many years ago. While it was disappointing at first, it seems like the actor has come to terms with never appearing as James Bond again. After Amazon took over creative control of the franchise, Brosnan was asked if he would ever want to play Bond again. He admitted that returning as James Bond is obviously intriguing, but believes the role should go to someone new. Brosnan said, Brosnan's comments suggest that him reprising his role as James Bond is very unlikely. Even though the idea is interesting, even Brosnan admitted that casting a new actor to play 007 is what's best for the franchise. However, it would be amazing to see Brosnan play M or a villain in future James Bond movies. This would also be romantic and poetic after he played 007, and his role in Black Bag proves that he would be a great fit for either role in a future James Bond movie.